show you a basic rat tail, or how to taper the ending. I'm coming around the corner here. My start tail is up there. That's where I began lacing, so that means my T-start is in there. And I've changed colors on this corner consistently. So this is where I want to end and do a rat tail. And if you hold the ruler up, you can see where you want to try to fool the eye that this strand is not ending here, but it's going to blend. The shape of the oval will remain an oval shape, and you won't see a strand jutting out. That's the goal, anyway. So I have these pins are marking the last increase that I put coming out of the corners, and I like to try to get my rat tail done before the last increase. And so this is the second to last increase, and this is the last one between these rows here. So I'm going to try to pull it, make sure my last strand is pulled in by this point at least. And so I lace up fairly close to this point, because sometimes that stretches out the braid, and you get more there than you think if you haven't laced up fairly close to the corner. So I brought my lacing up to there, and then I'm just going to mark roughly where I think these strands are going to end, and then give myself some extra room beyond that. So I'm going to try and pull the first strand in up here. I think I will pull this darkest brown one in right there. So I'm going to just put a pin there, just on the top layer. I think that's where that will go. The next two are going to twist around each other and travel a little farther, so I'm going to need more fabric for them. I'm just going to guess here for the light brown and the plaid, and we'll just leave extra room for them. And then unbraid. I have a lot of extra wool on here, so I'm just gonna snip these off so I can unbraid a little easier. I think I'll put a safety pin up here, or a clothespin up there, to keep it all from unraveling. Now this one is the one I'm pretty sure about. This is going to go into my strand pretty soon after this pin, so I'm just going to leave, this is a guess here, and it depends how thick your wool is. Maybe if you have real thin wool, you wouldn't need as much to pull in. I'm just going to leave probably 1.5 inches there. And then I want to narrow down the width of my strip so that it gets a little thinner right here at the end. Not as much bulk to the strip. I think I'm done with this pin. And you can take this about as narrow as you can and still fold it in the tube shape. I'm going to stitch the end here. So just take a little more off of there, I think. And get my thread and just baste this into a tube shape down here where it's going to be really hard to hold that tube shape while I'm pulling it through and getting it woven into the body of the rug there. So this doesn't have to be tiny stitches or real beautiful. It's going to be tucked in there. Okay, I stitched that up. That width of that strip down at the bottom was maybe 5/8 of an inch or so, something like that. Now I'm going to braid this back to the point where I was going to bring that strand in. By the way, this is not ideal here. You don't want a seam in your rat tail. But there it is, and I'm just going to deal with it. It might make a bit of a lump and not be as smooth as I'm hoping for, but so if you can avoid the seam in a rat tail, try to do that. But I left it in. Now I think this is where I want to pull the strand in. So I get a hemostat or a needle nose pliers and work it in. Get a hold of the end of the strand and pull it through. Okay, and that can be adjusted as we get this finished. Now these, I did trim these a little thinner before I started this video. So let me just finish that job. Now these two are going to twist around each other. At least 3 times, maybe 4. Depends on the rug. I find the rat tail process to be a bit of trial and error. Sometimes I'll pull the strands in and say, ugh, that just does not look good. Pull them out. I find a different way of pulling them in. This one, I think I'm going to pull this plaid strand in here. So that's about here, right in between the brown and the herringbone there. And let me just give another 1.5 inches and then stitch this, baste this tube closed just like I did the first one. Okay, that's basted together, and we'll see how that looks. Twist these two around each other. And I want that to go right in there. Okay, now my last strand is going to have to travel down to this point. So I need a little more with this pin. And we'll give it our 1.5 inches. And we'll baste the end closed here. Okay, and then we can actually pull these one down through the next loop if you want to. Get that to go down there. Same with this brown one here. You can bring that in to that loop. I can still get a little hold of that to pull it tighter. Sometimes it helps then to go back and lace right up to your rat tail. And take a look at it, see what you think. This could get pulled in back here. I could do it on the back side here. See what that looks like. I just pulled that one out. Okay. Once again, this is just a bit of trial and error for me anyway. And I kind of look at it, see if I like it. If I don't, I could pull it out and try again. I can pull it down here. See if I like that way. The shape is pretty good. It's not bulging out. And I'm going to add a butted row or 2 or 3 on the outside here, so I'll be able to sort of fill in this. If it ends up a little hollow here, I'll be able to fill it in with the next row. So I think I'll leave it like that, and then you can take your needle and thread and stitch through these tails. I'm going to start at the bottom here. Maybe I'll pull this. Try and pull this through the next loop. Get that end inside. There we go. And then just however it is that you can hide your stitches, try to hide them, but get through a couple layers of loops in here. And get those ends secured. This is a little tedious at this point, but you're so close to being done. Hopefully that helps the motivation to get this work done. Now I'm going to travel up to the next tail that's been pulled in there, the next strand, and try to get some stitches through there It hides a little better on the herringbone and the plaid. The stitches don't show up quite as much. And then the same thing up here at the first strand that we pulled in. I think that needs a little help. Twist the openings down around. Okay. Done with the stitching. Now we have these ends sticking out here, so we can just trim them off close up in there. And this one. Tuck that under. Just a little sticking out there. Okay, and now I have to lace it together. And this is the last normal lacing loop up here. It's a little bit of trial and error once again. Oftentimes it works to go to the back side and look on the back. Let's see, I think I'm gonna come out, go under this one. Yeah, and then under this one. Always just look back and forth to make sure that your thread is not showing on the other side. And I guess up and around this one. If that works. And that's about it, because these both are stitched here and I don't want to be trying to, I got the thread around that one, so that's about the last one I can loop. So then I will just travel this underneath a couple of loops and try and go around in a circle, like take the thread around in a circle if I can, to keep it tight there. And still always check on the back and make sure there's stitching in here, so I'm not sure if I can get through that. Not sure if I want to. I don't want to break any stitching. Maybe I'll go out there. I already have that laced, but I could get it again and come back in.